First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
US 441 in Gainesville has a name you might not know about. How that might soon change.
Now you see it, now you don't. Researchers in Gainesville gather to discuss what happened to the Zika virus.
Good evening for Friday, November 3rd. I'm Janae Muchmore.
And I'm Grace King. But first, local officials are reacting to costs racked up by Richard Spencer's visit to the University of Florida 2 weeks ago.
From multiple local and state agencies, but at what cost?
WUFT's Lauren Cavassini went to a City of Gainesville Commission meeting yesterday where officials said they want to know the numbers.
2 weeks ago, the City of Gainesville and the University of Florida accumulated many expenses when white nationalist Richard Spencer came to town. City commissioners still wonder how much it all costs.
I think citizens are extremely interested in knowing what that number is.
Mayor Lauren Poe talked yesterday about the mutual aid they received from other cities.
For most of the mutual aid that we got, we did not pay for that, except for food and hotel fees. Those folks that the Orange County Sheriff's Department lent us, and Tampa Bay Police Department, and all the troopers, they were on their clock.
Commissioner Harvey Budd brought up the issue of billing UF.
I think the burden is on the university to reimburse us, and to be able to ask them for a reimbursement. I have the flexibility to do that, because I think they triggered the whole event to begin with.
Meanwhile, at the University of Florida, the official breakdown documents will remain confidential, and once the university has collected all of the invoices from the necessary parties, then they will release the total costs.
It's kind of like Girl Scout cookie sales. You sell the cookies, and then it just takes some time to get them delivered and get the money in, and that's just kind of what happens. That's just part of it.
The city expects to have its accounting complete in a few weeks, and the city manager was not willing to give a ballpark figure yesterday.
Is it a six-figure number, do you think? I'm not going to say it right now. Okay, all right. It is above $10. Okay.
Lauren Cavassini, WUFT News.
Those numbers could be available by the next City Commission meeting.
And also in Gainesville, a community fights to honor a civil rights hero and a rock legend. WUFT's Nicolette Perdomo has a story.
A state senator's proposal that would have named a major highway Tom Petty shined a light on something many Alachua County residents might not have known. The well-traveled road was already named after a civil rights leader. Community members spoke out. Instead of renaming parts of Highway 441 after Gainesville native Tom Petty, Gainesville city leaders want to improve the signs already there. Those signs honor Martin Luther King Jr., who the road was named after decades ago.
It took a lot of hard work back 35 years ago for the then commissioners and people in the state legislature to name it MLK.
Driving down Highway 441, there are signs that show the highway is dedicated to Martin Luther King Jr., but they're very hard to see. Gainesville City Commissioners could make the signs bigger and Martin Luther King's name larger.
I think it's time that we recognize Martin Luther King Jr. More prominently on the road and making sure that it's well known.
State Senator Keith Perry filed the bill that would have renamed part of 441 for Tom Petty instead of MLK. He says he didn't speak to enough community members.
Things we didn't do I didn't do is reach out to different groups in the community and talk to them, get their opinion before we file the bill. So a little bit premature in filing that, but there's an amendment process and that's what it's for.
While MLK signs might soon be larger, many community members are determined to find a forum to honor Gainesville's musical icon.
There's a lot of options that we can do to honor Tom Petty. Like I said, Tom Petty is...
Perry is now proposing to rename the intersection of 34th Street and Archer after Petty. Nicolette Perdomo, WUFT News.
Nicolette, thank you. In the past few years, the City of Gainesville has seen a growth of minority-owned business certifications. WUFT's Zalame Briseño has a story of two brothers who are a part of this trend.
Brotherly love, a bond Michael and Matthew Barnes have built into a business. The duo moved to Gainesville about 4 years ago and just recently launched their own catering business.
It's been about 3 months and business is slowly but surely picking up.
The brothers say they decided to open Barnes Brothers Catering here in Gainesville because they saw opportunities.
The reason that they come to Gainesville, one, is because it is a smaller town. and it's a market that's growing.
In Gainesville, minority-owned businesses certified with the city have increased from about 20 companies in 2013 to more than 300 today.
We have spent almost $20 million just in the last year alone with our local small minority women and veteran businesses.
Community outreach efforts from the city, such as new programs and policies, have made this shift possible. That is why we're seeing the start of more and more small and minority-owned businesses here in Gainesville.
Community organizations are also reaching out to minority entrepreneurs, encouraging networking so this trend can continue.
You see someone else that is trying to do what you want to do, then you're more encouraged and you know that it's possible and that you can do it.
As for the Barnes brothers and their new business, they say they've already felt the support of the community. Salome Briceño, WUFT News.
Right now, the city is working on different policies and programs, including the transitioning of the Disabled Veteran Service Program into a full veteran program.
Starting Monday, some Gainesville road closures could affect your work commute throughout the rest of the week. Southwest 6th Street will be closed between Southwest 5th Avenue and Southwest 2nd Avenue. And Northwest 14th Avenue will be closed between Northwest 51st Terrace and Northwest 50th Terrace. These closures are part of a restoration project. Detours will be set up at both locations.
Another change to know about, starting this weekend in Alachua County, you can only turn on your sprinklers one day a week. New wintertime water restrictions will go into effect. Addresses that end in an odd number or that have no house address can water on Saturdays. Addresses that end in an even number water on Sundays. And Tuesdays for non-residential lawns, which includes residential common areas. No water is allowed on between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. regardless of the day.
For the first time, representatives from all over the world are at the University of Florida's Emerging Pathogens Institute talking about Zika.
WUFT's Morgan Reiner joins us live from the newsroom. Morgan, the seminar is answering the question we all want the answer to. Where is Zika now?
Well, the answer is not quite what you would expect. I spoke to scientists from all over the world, and what they had to say was both uplifting and scary. University of Florida researchers are shining a light on the Zika outbreak,
with the idea of really trying to better understand some of the basic science as to what's going on when Zika is being transmitted.
They're teaming up with science minds from all over the world. The group's called Zika Action, and it met for the first time in the U.S., answering the looming question, where is Zika now?
We're not totally sure. It looks like that it is no longer a major problem in terms of epidemic disease.
The answer, although vague, is good news. Morris says there has only been one case of Zika transmission in the state this year. At today's seminar, they're not just talking about Zika. They're talking about different sorts of pathogens which can lead to all sorts of diseases like chikungunya or dengue fever.
We focused on Zika, but the reality is these mosquito-borne viruses, these viruses that are carried by mosquitoes, tend to come in waves.
And it's the wave that they are preparing for.
Despite the infection went down, is likely to reappear. We don't know when, in 1 year time, 2, 4, 5 years time. So that is why it's very important to understand the reason.
Zika Action has funding for the next 4 years, and during this time period, they will continue to study future outbreaks, particularly transmissions from a mother to an unborn child. Live from the newsroom, Morgan Reiner, WUFT News.
Morgan, thank you. Well, it felt a little warmer than usual for November today.
That's right. UF forecaster Grayson Jarvis joins us now from the UF Weather Center. Grayson, will we continue to see the warm weather over the weekend?
Well, yes, actually, it was a little bit warmer than average for this time of year, 5 degrees above average. Usually it's about 77 degrees early November. So highs that we saw this afternoon, 82 degrees in Gainesville, 83 in Bronson, 82 in Ocala. Remember, that's 5 degrees higher than what's average for this time of year, but it didn't actually feel as bad as it usually does because humidity is low right now because we're having high pressure in the area currently. Live look at radar outside right now. As a result of this high pressure, we're not seeing anything on radar, and that will maintain itself through the next couple of days, at least until the weekend. Hour by hour going into the rest of this evening. By 6 p.m. we're down to 77 degrees. By 8 p.m. we're down to 68. By 12 a.m. we're down to 62. And by 4 a.m. we're down to 59 with clear skies. And coming up in my full forecast, I'll tell you when you can expect rain back in the forecast.
Coming up on WUFT News First at 5, a homeless Gainesville man is on his way to a new life.
And in entertainment news, Beyonce is set to star in a live-action version of a Disney classic. Those stories and more after the break.